Hey guys, we are working on SWL 816 today. This talks about slope-intercept form and graphing equations of a line. There's a lot of SOLs here today. First of all, it says we need to know positive, negative, and zero slope. Remember, positive slope goes up over time, negative slope goes down over time, and zero slope is going to be a flat straight line. Then it says we need to recognize slope-intercept form. Remember, slope-intercept form is created with a slope, that's your M, times x plus your intercept, that's your b. That's why it is called slope-intercept form. We already talked about independent and dependent variables, so that's no problem. We're going to graph a linear function given slope-intercept form, and we're going to make connections between graphs, tables, equations, etc. All right, so remember when you graph points, we always put the x value first, so that first number is how far left and right we go. Let me make a note of that. Left and right comes first, and then comes your up and your down. All right, so let's go ahead and look at our first problem. So which one best represents y equals x minus 1? So remember, the number in front of your x is going to be your slope. We call that letter m. Right now, there's not really a number there, but we know there's always an imaginary 1 in front of a variable. So my slope is going to be 1, and we can write that as a fraction of 1 over 1. That negative 1 there at the end, that's my y-intercept. That's my b. And we're going to write it always with a 0 first, and then that number as the y value for negative 1. So I'm looking for an ordered pair of 0, negative 1. You'll notice in letter choice A, I don't have a 0, negative 1. So that one's not going to work for me. You'll notice in letter choice B, I don't have a 0, negative 1. So I'm not liking letter choice B either. Let's look at letter choice C. Notice how that line crosses up here at positive 1. We already said it needs to cross down here at negative 1, so that's not going to cut it. Down here, I like this guy right here. It crosses at negative 1. Now we'll check our slope. Our slope says we should go up 1 and go to the right 1. Up 1 and to the right 1. That's definitely looking like up 1, right 1. I like letter choice D the most so far. Looking at problem number 2, which table contains points that lie on this line? Again, we can look at that slope. Our slope in this case is going to be the fraction 2/3. And our b, our y-intercept, is going to be that minus 6 there at the end. We always write that with a 0 in the beginning, and then that minus 6 at the end. So I'm looking for one of these ordered pairs to be 0, negative 6. If you notice, I've got that choice in letter choice A. I'm going to go ahead and plug in those points of 9, 6 and see what we get. So we're going to do 2/3 of 9 minus 6. Now you'll notice how I wrote the 9. I did that on purpose so I could put a 1 underneath. That way I can multiply two fractions. 2 times 9 gives me 18. Divided by 3 gives me a minus 6. 18 divided by 3 is 6, and 6 take away 6 would be 0. So that means point A did not work. Even though it has the 0, negative 6, the other point did not work. Every point in the set has to work. All right, we can look at letter choice B. I'm going to erase this just so we've got a little bit of room here. Letter choice B, we're going to plug in a 0, 2/3 times 0 minus 6. That's going to give me 0 minus 6. That'll give me negative 6. So it's definitely not letter choice B. All right, again, I'm going to erase this so we've got more room. And we're going to scoot over here to letter choice C. So I'm going to plug in a negative 3. So 2/3 times negative 3. Again, I'm putting it over 1 minus 6. 2 times negative 3 gives me negative 6. 3 times 1 gives me 3. Take away 6. Negative 6 divided by 3 gives me negative 2. Minus 6 equals negative 8. Aha, I like that one so far. Let's try the 6 to be safe. Again, I'm going to just scoot this over so we have them both here. So I'm going to do 2/3 times 6 over 1 minus 6. 2 times 6 is 12 over 3 minus 6. 12 divided by 3 gives me 4. Minus 6 gives me that negative 2. So I know that letter choice C would be the best option since it works for both of those tables. You can plug this into Desmos, and Desmos might speed it up a little bit for you. I just like doing it longhand. When I'm doing it so many times, it's a little faster. Okay, so which of these equations represents the table of values? Go ahead and try this guy by yourself. All right, number 4, Margaret has $200 in her savings account. So she's starting with $200. That would be our y-intercept. She will make a deposit of $50 into the account each week. That would be our slope. We're adding $50 each week. So if it was 2 weeks, we would multiply that by 50. And she will make no withdrawals, which table represents her situation. So looking at these tables, we're looking for week 0 to start with $200. So starting with $200, week A, she started with $200. Week B, she started with $50. That's not going to work. Excuse me. Then in C, she did start with 200. D, she started with 50, so we're already down 2. Then we'll notice this one, she added 50, added 50, added 50. That's what they talked about in the problem. Over here, they're subtracting 50 each week. That's not what they talked about in the problem, so that would be letter choice A. We'll scoot over to the other page. Which line appears to contain both ordered pairs? So we're going to go to x is 2. So we're going to go over 1, 2. And we're going to go 0 on the y-axis. There's that point. That point does not fall on the line. Let's try it over here. 2, 0. That point would fall on the line. Let's see if we can get B out of here. 1, 2. Nothing up or down, and that point is on the line. 1, 2. Nothing up or down. That is not on the line. Now we'll try 0, -4. That means nothing left or right. We're just going to go down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So far, that one's good. Let's check this one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Not going to work on B, so the only answer would be C. All right, talking about number 6, this is that slope-intercept form. Again, we're going to look at our slope. Our slope would be the number in front of the x. That's going to be -2. Our intercept would be that -1 at the end. So that's going to be B equals 0, -1. Remember, your y-intercept always starts with an x value of 0. So we're looking for one of these graphs to fall at the point 0, -1. Let's start there. So if I look at 0, -1, that is on the graph. 0, -1, that's not on the graph of that one. 0, -1, that graph is just a little too high. 0, -1, that graph is definitely way too high up. The only one that shows me 0, -1 would be A. I can double check my work and I can try that slope of 2. That tells me to go down 1, 2, and over 1. So that would make letter choice A the best option. Go ahead and try number 7 by yourself. All right, so number 8, there's a question mark in the y spot. It says Alana is creating a table of values to graph this equation. So what they want to know is if you were to plug in the x value, what would be the y value that would give you 9? So we don't really need to worry about the 0, 3, and the 3, 1. Those are extra information. We're going to plug in the x equals -3. So I'm going to do 2 times -3 plus 3, y equals 9. Our goal is to solve for that y. So 2 times -3 gives me -6 plus 3y equals 9. You'll notice this is just like one of those equations where we draw the river and we follow our 4 steps. We're going to go ahead and try and get our variables over here, our constants over here. So we're going to add 6 to both sides because that's a -6. And we're left with 3y is equal to 15. And when we divide both sides by 3, we would find that it would be y is equal to +5. In other words, letter choice D. Last but not least for today, using the graph of the line, fill in the blanks. I actually already filled them in for you. It was an oopsie-daisy. I didn't mean to give you the answers there. However, if you were to get those answers, I would go where x is -4. Where x is -4, there's that point, and that would be at -6. If I had gone to -5, where y is -5, that's going to be down here. Boop, x would be at -2. So I'm going to go to where x is 0, that's here on this part of the line. I can see that that point would be right here at 4. Oh, I did that one backwards, excuse me. We're going to go to -4 on the x, and we would see that it's 0. and 4 on the y, and we would see that it's a 0. I had it right. All right, and then we're going to go to the y value of -2. And we can see that the x value would be here at +4. Over on the side where it says points not on the line, when we have, that would be our leftover value. If we go to 3, where y is 3, here's y is 3. Anything that's not on the line, 2, 3 would be on the line. I don't know why it says not on the line. But those are points that are on the line, okay? If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out, but go ahead and get started on your homework. Easy puzzle, easy